A very good afternoon to the August gathering and welcome back to the afternoon session of the second day International Conference on Innovations and Research in Marine, Electrical and Electronics Engineering 2021. The session will focus on power electronics and drives. I'm indeed glad to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Vinay Kumar Channa, designated as Principal in Jaipur Engineering College and Research Center, Jaipur. He is a doctorate in electrical engineering from Delhi University. He is very passionate to impart quality education to the students and to strengthen the beliefs of students in achieving their dreams. He has published more than 30 articles in the thrust areas such as intelligent algorithms, power systems, and smart grid. Besides this, he has received many awards in academics and also for his research contribution. We are grateful to have such an eminent and resourceful person as a keynote speaker for this session. I welcome you once again, sir. Now I request Dr. Vinay Kumar Chandana to expound the keynote address.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, madam, for giving my introduction. I'm very much thankful to Department of Electrical Engineering for giving me the opportunity to discuss some of the issues in the area of power electronics and drives. I'll start my presentation with a question and then I'll end my presentation with some thoughts. Because in during this pandemic condition, you might have seen that hospitals are running here and there and they are looking for ventilators. And you might have seen the news in the media that many of the hospitals are going into fire, then fire broke out, some emergency conditions are there, their electrical system is not supporting, and why that fire is broken, they are not actually talking on those issues. And if you think that the first device why I'm discussing with you during this pandemic condition, your ventilator is a non-linear device and you have suppose 10 ICUs in your hospital and suddenly you increase ICU beds to 200 for catering that emergency situation, and then you are not discussing anything about your electrical system, how the electrical installation is there, and the non-linear devices are you are installing in your hospital, that has increased a lot of load within the electrical system. With this question, I'll start my talk. Like how the electronic industry is keeping up with short innovation cycles, medical equipments and smart devices, phone, laptops, television, other devices, small innovations are taking place. Virtual commissioning, we'll talk about this, digital twin performance, 3D printed models, robots. Standard of living of the people is increasing day by day. Smart houses we are talking about. We are talking about drives in the industry. We are talking about transport system, smart transport system, metro, and other different kinds of transport system in the cities. We are discussing about smart energies. There are many points in which small innovations are taking place. And what actually is the outcome of that innovation is the outcome is accelerating decarbonization with battery storage standalone units in, you can say that, captive storage plants wherein you are using your own electricity. There you are trying to do small innovation and installing renewable energy system like solar, wind, etc. in your system. You are talking about intelligent microgrid management system to ensure efficiency. You are replacing old devices with the intelligent devices, numerical relays. Each and every equipment is talking about some innovation in the area of power electronics and drives. If we talk about smart cities, Amsterdam was the first city in 1994 with a population of approximately 8 lakhs and total area is 300 square kilometer, a small area converted into a smart city. But when in India, we discuss about let's go for smart cities, then if you see the area of the Delhi is 1400 square kilometer, approximately 2 crore is the population. and Indore has 530 square kilometer of area with approximately 30 lakh of population in Indore, but still we are struggling to make a small city into a smart city. I'll discuss the reason for that in my coming slide, that why the smart city projects are failing and in what way the dealing by the administrative system is there. IBM took the initiative in the year 2000, wherein the Siemens working in Azure area, and they created an island, and after creating an island, they transformed that particular island into a smart island, and then that has given you the advantage of reducing diesel consumption per year of 1150 tons, and more than 3500 tons of carbon dioxide emission was decreased due to this particular initiative. They discuss about grid technology there in that island, and grid is the focus of new energy system. It's where the consumer, prosumer, and intelligent grid interacts with each other. Now, prosumer is the person or the place or the building where you are generating the electricity. So our energy systems are radically transforming, and this transition is driven by digitization, decentralization, and a global call for decarbonization. Old energy models are replaced by intelligent, multidimensional grids where electrical energy is produced, stored, and used by so-called prosumers. Solutions at the grid edge enables building infrastructures and industries to optimize their energy efficiency. They empower customers to intelligently integrate renewable and to take control of their energy supply. Grid tech technology supports infrastructure for e-mobility expansion. This is a small figure representation of grid technology wherein smart grid and the consumers are connected to each other at a common point of common coupling, and that point of common coupling is known as grid edge technology, wherein the resources connected to the grid edge are municipality, campus, commercial units, smart buildings, process industries, residential, non-residential. Everything is connected to a point of common coupling, and that point of common coupling is controlled by the smart grid, where the supply to the grid edge is given by the renewable energy source from wind, solar, and other kind of energy generating units like nuclear power plant and thermal power plant. So the new terminology has come into place is the grid tech technology. When we talk about smart grid stakeholders, these smart grid stakeholders are many small power producers wherein they are generating the electricity and locally distributing the electricity to the consumers nearby in that area. So you can say that that market is decentralized and they are ignoring the boundaries because they are not connected to the national grid or the local grid of that particular city or the state, wherein they are talking about private transmission. A private system, the system is generating electricity and giving you the electricity through their own transmission system and the distribution system. It's like a mobile phone company. Like you are interested in taking a connection from say Idea or Vodafone or Airtel, then you are only talking to that particular company. This kind of system is now very much popular in small cities and villages and helping consumer in many directions. Again, another example of smart city stakeholders. Now, in the Forbes article, smart cities bringing together infrastructure and technology to improve the quality of the life of the citizens and enhance their interactions with the urban environment that is necessary. IoT is used to transform street lighting into a connected digital infrastructure for collecting data gathering insight and providing useful applications. It is like mapping of a small area wherein at a particular place you are getting each and every information related to the energy being consumed and other devices connected in the house, and their data is controlled from a central place. IoT is being used across cities in variety of ways, including wastewater management, public transport, free city-wide Wi-Fi, and more. And some cities have succeeded in their efforts, but they have failed. Now, I am stressing upon why some of the cities have failed. I'll go through one of the example in the coming slide. Like when attempting to implement smart city project, many cities focus on technology itself rather than the end goal and the users. New terminology coming in over here is a blockchain. You have the process industry, you have the product, but you are not able to connect to the consumer in an effective way, so the chain is breaking. Cities get caught up in newest IoT technology available. People are talking about new technology available, but they forgot to answer that the technology which is available, whether we want that technology or not, who will work on this particular technology, whether the people working with the technology, they they know that how to use that technology, and to whom that technology will help. With this, leaders also forgot to involve both internal and external users in this particular process. They have the file, okay, we wish to convert or we wish to implement a new technology, but who will use it and how it they will use, it is a matter of concern. IoT can be very expensive to build into infrastructure, and if you are not training your city employees, not telling your citizens how to use it, then that money will go into waste. A proper stakeholder analysis should be conducted each time an IoT solution is considered. Stakeholders would almost always include citizens, city staff, government leaders, government IT staffs, and third party IoT platform providers. Their interaction is very much necessary to for the successful implementation of any IoT application. I'm taking one example of smart city project. In Philadelphia, they attempted to use a wastewater management IoT solution, but they failed because they were not able to talk to the consumer. Though their expectation was quality of the life of the citizen will improve, across the city sensors were placed into trash can to track and when they were full. The sensor were supposed to help the city determine how many workers and trucks they need to collect trash and how often theoretically they should make it easier to keep trash can empty and city clean. But the city failed to consider several factors. Number one, external human factor. Dirty or broken handles on the trash can resulted in people placing trash around the trash cans rather than in them. Thus, trash would build up on a sidewalk and not be collected for days since the sensors couldn't detect it. The sensors also weren't equipped to detect when trash was starting to smell. This caused problem when trash cans weren't yet full, so were not able being fully emptied for days, even though they started to smell badly. This affected the citizen in a negative way. The city should have asked citizen for input and communicated how the IoT technology was being used in trash cans. In India, it is a problem, a challenge, and a population also. Internal human factor was the city failed to properly train and communicate with the workers and relevant city staff. If the workers knew what kind of impact a broken trash can handle could have on the process, they would have known to report it right way. Summary is, you can implement as many IoT technology solutions in the city as you want, but the outcome will vary significantly depending on how well you communicate with both internal and external users. Citizens should be asked for input and also communicated with so they know how technologies are meant to be benefited for them. Workers need to be understand the purpose of the technology, and know that several factors can affect this efficacy. See, why I am discussing all these things? Everywhere, when you talk about research in the area of power electronics and the use of those power electronics circuitry for the drives, the students start working on the switching frequency and their protection, and about IGBT and about solar system and about wind power system, and start working on changing some of the parameters in the circuitry to get some efficiency improvement, and then try to submit a paper in national or international conference of repute. But they fail to understand that this circuitry or whatever may be the research you have done in the past, that research now has a next level of implementation, and that next level of implementation is coming in terms of smart cities, smart system, transport system. And with that, responsibility is also coming onto the researchers with ethics and willingness. It is very much necessary that if a researcher is working in a particular area, then he has to think that what would be the outcome and where that technology will be used to improve the quality living in the society, and what he is giving back to the society in terms of that research. That is very much necessary for the researcher to think in that particular direction. It may sound like the plot of sci-fi movie, but in the near future we may need to worry about criminals locking us in a smart building or remotely taking control of our cars. Why cars? Now, because of this particular technology, lots of hackers are roaming around, and they try to hack your smartphone. They try to take information from your phones and your TCP IP enabled devices, where your password and user IDs and other important data is available. One can reach up to that particular place. And if you say that your each and every equipment in the building, in the car or in the transport system or the energy efficient system, everything is connected together to a particular IoT solution, wherein it is very easy for a hacker to reach up to that particular device. For that, cyber security or the security of that device is very much necessary. Now, the building, vehicles, and sensors connect up to the internet, and we must consider how we are going to protect ourselves from increasingly sophisticated cyber attacks. Now, if you take another example of a smart city wherein cyber attack is taking place, though he can hack your smart building base, he can hack your transport system, he can hack your energy transportation system, he can hack your smart grid, and the reach is everywhere. And each and every IoT application has some or the other power electronic switch or the device connected. And everywhere that technology is being used now these days, from smaller device to a bigger switch, this power electronics, a semiconductor switch is used. And where we are today, now, wind power accounts for nearly 10% of India's total installation power generation capacity and generated 62.03 trillion watt hour in physical year 1819. I have taken data 1819, which is nearly 4% of total electricity generation. As far as solar is concerned, solar power in India is a fast developing industry, and country's solar installed capacity was 35,739 megawatt as on 31st August 2020, a very old data. It has it has increased manifold in the sense that in 2015 the target was raised to 100 gigawatt. That target is achieved, including 40 gigawatt from rooftop solar by 2022. That target is also achieved by the Indian government, and now they are setting up some new targets with a target of investing more than 100 US billion dollars. Now there you can find some opportunity. As of March 2018, India has 22 nuclear reactors in operation in 7 nuclear plants with a total installed capacity of 6,780 megawatt. Now, nuclear power produced a total of 35 trillion watt hour and supplied 3.2% of Indian electricity in 17. This has also increased. As of 2017, the lifetime weightage energy available factor in Indian fleet is 63.5%. Talk about thermal. In 2020, India has a total thermal installed capacity of 231.45 gigawatt. Almost 86% of thermal power is obtained from coal and rest from lignite, diesel and gas. The private sector generates 46.9% of India's thermal power, whereas state, center generates 27 and 25% respectively. If we talk about installed capacity, India is the world's third largest producer and third largest consumer of electricity. The national electric grid in India has an installed capacity of 373.029 gigawatt as of 30th September 2020. Renewable power plants, which also include large hydroelectric power plants, constitute 36% of India's total installed capacity. Every generating station is connected to grid, and that individual state grid are connected to form 5 regional grids covering mainland India. The grids were northern, eastern, western, northeastern, and southern grids. These regional links were established to enable transmission of surplus electricity between states in each region. And all the 5 grids are connected to each other through a back-to-back HVDC power station. So next come to smart grid is an electrical grid where automation, communication and IT systems that can monitor power flow from point of generation to point of consumer, even down to the appliances level, and control the power flow or curtail the load to match generation in real time or in near real time situation. All these things are connected to each other, and the use of advanced power electronics technologies in smart grid is mainly reflected in the entire process of power generation, power transmission, power generation, power distribution, and other power generation. Why I'm talking about power generation, and generation? Because all the renewable sources are connected to the grid, and the application in the smart grid is particularly is very much important. Converters plays a major role, maybe from converting from AC to DC, from DC to AC, DC to variable DC, AC to variable frequency AC, low voltage to regulated high voltage, low voltage to regulated low voltage, DC link, all comes under the category of converters. Then I'm little bit discussing about electric vehicle also. More than just a power outlet, you want a charging station. Charging thermal allows for charging electric vehicles safely with maximum efficiency. Charging stations mainly deliver the energy to the vehicle. Now, usually in the form of high voltage AC or DC, depending upon what kind of system you have. The idea is that by 2030, not a single petrol or diesel car should be sold in the country. Very difficult, because it very difficult from economical point of view. 69,000 petrol pumps must be installed with charging station. Now, if you are saying that diesel and petrol cars uh, should be removed from the system, then what would happen to the 69,000 petrol pumps and the employees working on that? Number one, now these days, diesel and petrol prices are going up, and it adds to the economy to the system. You have to think in that particular direction also. Though you have some advantage of owning an electric car, they are better for environment. Electricity can be renewable resource, gasoline cannot be. They require less expensive and less frequent maintenance. They are quieter than gas vehicle. They are at present tax credits available for owners for electric cars, but why these tax credits are required, I don't know. Why we require subsidy every time when a new technology or new thing just to promote. There are special highway lanes in some places in for electric cars so that their charging stations must be installed in that special highway lanes. Disadvantage is electric cars have a shortage range than gas powered car. You have to think in that particular direction. Research is going on. Still, there is a scope of work in this particular direction with electric cars, with charging stations. Like recharging the battery take time. Enough research on the battery is being done. When we talk about solar cars, when we talk about electric cars, people start thinking about battery, size of battery, kind of battery, weight of battery. People are working on that. Recharging of that particular battery is very much necessary. They are usually more expensive than gas power car, but if you think cost of battery today, 10 years back and after 10 years, you will find that cost is not as much as people are discussing about. It can something be difficult to find a charging station. Now, if you have infrastructure, build infrastructure, you will get charging stations, and it is a policy matter only. There are not much of models available in the market. Naturally, market is at present not giving much stress in buying electric cars. Therefore, models will come into picture in the coming time. Now, pro-consumer, because we discuss this terminology with solar power, grid connection, rooftop power. India's cumulative solar rooftop installation reached about 4.4 gigawatt at the end of 2019, according to recent report by Marcom India. It added that last year large-scale projects accounted for 85% of installation of 6242 megawatt of rooftop solar power, and they are connected to the grid through net metering also. Many people in the city, those who are having their own roof, they are installing rooftop power with net metering, so they are also earning money out of that. It improves power quality because power quality is an important factor where you talk about harmonics, harmonic losses, and what is the effect of that harmonics and what kind of harmonic is there. Then you have to discuss something about active filters and passive filters. So it is an important factor when you talk about power quality. Yes, standard of living is increasing day by day. You are using sophisticated devices. Lot of scope of power electronic drive is there. You are using with the help of this IoT applications. You have to think for that also. Requirement, yes, it is increasing day by day. Population is increasing. More autonomy and flexibility is required for working in this particular area. And process of automation needs more concern. It is very much necessary now these days. Everybody is talking about automation, process automation, home automation, restaurant automation. Yeah, they are talking about hospital automation. It will help doctors and nurses. They are talking about virtual platforms also. So there are many applications in which the students can think differently. Now, if you look around, power electronics is just not utilization of non-linear devices actually. It is the need of the society, and you have to think in that particular direction. With this question, I think it is more than sufficient. My time is also about to over, so I am very much thankful to Dr. Shashi Thala, who's given me the opportunity to discuss some of the points in the power electronics and devices, because I thought that instead of taking up one particular research paper and discussing, advantages and disadvantages of the switches being used and switching frequency, and everybody is talking in that particular direction. Let's discuss something else that is directly connected to the society. Therefore, I discuss so many parameters and factors in front of you, wherein the students can think and start working in different directions. Uh, with this, I think, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to interact with you all.